guys, welcome back to the channel for another reaction. We're taking another look at, again, Sleep Token. Now, it's been a while since we checked these guys out. I know I checked out a couple of their, singles that they came and released about a year or two ago. They've been releasing some new stuff, so I think that was the last time I checked them out. So it was very interesting to check them out. I never really dove too deep into them, but I do know they're a UK band. I know they have that uniqueness style to them. They have that unique, mysterious kind of vibe to them to their image, to the way they, they make their songs, the way they, perform on stage and stuff like that. Similar to bands, like Slipknot, all those type of bands, have that, character to them. But they're a very unique band, I would say, because there's not any other band I would compare them to, rather, because they do have the gents, they do have the deep tones, they do have the metal background that they normally do, but they have this unique kind of off genre that they usually do. They like to incorporate some other genres from different types of music. They have a little bit of jazzy influences here and there, a lot of R&B, a lot of pop stuff from this, especially my guy on the vocals here. He likes to play with his voice. He has a very clean, very prominent, solid, clean voice to him, which is very soothing to the ears, I would say. But it's very different. It does kind of some screams, some subtle growls, not too much as you would, typically, favor from a metal band, but they're very unique. They're very unique in their own way. They're very becoming one of the most popular bands in the mainstream nowadays. I see why all these fans, are gravitating towards them, because they do have that unique style to them, like I mentioned. So we're just gonna have to wait and see what these guys have to bring. I know it's been some time. I haven't gotten caught up with these guys previously. I know that they might have released I think those singles I reacted to came out with an EP back in a year or two ago. So like I said, but they announced a new album now. They've been announcing the newest anticipated album fairly recently, which a lot of people are excited for. A lot of people are hyped, to sing that, because like I said, they're very popular in the mainstream nowadays. So we're just gonna have to wait and see what this one has to bring, and if this one's good, I might have to check that one out. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. But yeah, we're gonna check out the newest single from my boys over at Sleep Token. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe. I don't appreciate it, and to really help me out. And if you like Sleep Token, be sure to leave a like on this video as well. And if you're new here, thank you for stopping by, checking out some awesome reviews, because we are just getting started on these heavy bangers. It's been some time since I've done a proper reaction for you guys, so we're just gonna have to get right into it. It's the Sleep Token's newest release track, titled Emergence. They like to do a lot of atmospheric stuff to their songs as well, so let's see what we got. You and I are down head first in another world. I have a feeling we're close to the end. Like a man with the cleans. Not gonna lie, he does have a good clean voice though. You definitely see the pop influence though. Some distorted vocals. Ooh, bringing in the synths. Little techno beats. Let's go, boys, build it up. Oh! This is the hip hop. Making that flow rhythm. Okay, it's very different. I hope it's not the whole song is not like this, but I want to hear some of that deepness. Give me some of that deep tone, boys. Surprise me. Let's go, drum man.
I've got solar blast for your dead god, space dust for your fuel.
Emergence.
For your solstice, dancing through the depths of hellfire on the winds that started from within. My blood beats so alive, my
deep
terror
tone.
through my skin. So tell me what you meant by living past your half-life and lockstep with the universe and your well past the afterlife. You know that I'm sanctified.
Oh, so meaty.
Below, no matter what you do, no matter where you go, you might be the one to take away the pain.
Not gonna lie, it's kind of like not my typical sound, you know. I feel like it's a little bit too much of like a clean, subtle track for me, but I can see why people like it though.
Nothing else is quite the same as how I feel when I'm yours.
Some of mine. Carrots have a great voice though. Not gonna lie. Love the tone though. I just feel like they could do like a lot more deepness with that tone. It's so meaty, it's so punchy. Here's the grooves. Let's go, boys, break it down. Ooh, there's the jazzy bits. They're bringing in the horns on this one. Ooh, bring that subtle, sexy vibe, if you know what I'm saying. Woo-hoo. See, like a lot of bands don't do this type of stuff nowadays, man. They don't like experiment enough. They don't think outside the box. That's feel like what these guys like to do a lot. I feel like I'm in a 1920s jazz parlor now. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, very different. Very different from what I said. Like I said, these guys are definitely unique in their own way. I can definitely see why people like them. I can definitely see why they're coming one of the most popular bands nowadays in the mainstream. But, you know, like I said, it's not my favorite type of genre. It's not my favorite type of sound from these guys. I know they're good, don't get me wrong, but it's not what I'm looking for. It's not one of my favorite bands where I go out to go listen to and put a track on. You know, I wouldn't see myself going out and putting on a track of theirs, I would say. But, you know, if it's a deep sounding one, I might have to do it. But if it's songs like this, you know, it's subtle, it's tranquil, it's more atmospheric. I feel like, you know, it's something I wouldn't normally go out and listen to. But I can definitely see the hype. I can definitely see the appreciation. Like I said, my guy on the vocals here, definitely showing out what he does best. He's most prominent in his clean voices, I would say, because he doesn't really do the screams too much. He doesn't really do, you know, growls and stuff like that. From what I've seen on the previous tracks, I would say. But, you know, that's definitely the unique style, I'd say, mixed with pop, mixed with, R&B, a little bit of jazz that we say like at the end there. But it's very, they still have the gents, they still have the groovy bits here and there. But that tone though, I love the tone. It's so meaty, it's so gritty, it's so punchy. The way they got when they put on the low string there, when they were doing the grooves, give me some more of that. I can feel like they can experiment a lot with a tone, that meaty and that punchy. But who knows? Hopefully they might do that on the new album, so I might have to check it out. I might have to see if there's any heavy ones hidden in there. Maybe they're giving us some, like a little bit of tease of what's to come. And so hopefully there's some new ones, hopefully some heavy bangers on there that I would appreciate. More my speed, more my style, stuff like that. But yeah, overall track, very decent nonetheless. Nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy, I would say. But I could definitely see this one being like a soundtrack to something. I could definitely see it being more like, a cinematic. It's a more cinematic feel. I could definitely see this being played, in the mainstream on, other media, stuff like that. I can definitely see that being played, on the radio. You already know, because it has that radio-friendly type style as well. It's very clean, it's very subtle, very R&B. So I definitely see them getting more people from other genres, into liking this band. I can definitely see that while they're getting, their popularity skyrocketing. But, like I said, I haven't been too much of a fan of these guys. I've been just, here and there, popping in here and there, checking out some of the newest stuff like that. So I definitely do know that they are a new band. They haven't been around for too long, but I can definitely see the hype. I can definitely see why people like them, but it's just not typically my style. It's not my speed. But I'm gonna have to check that album out, and we're just gonna have to wait and see what the new one has to bring, ladies and gentlemen. But that was a fairly lengthy song, though. It's 6 minutes. Did not feel like a 6-minute song, let me just say. But I guess like they kind of spread it out when they were doing like the instruments in the beginning and stuff like that, and more atmospheric stuff, I would say, that these guys are normally good for as well. But we're just gonna have to wait and see, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully that new album brings out some heavy bangers. Hopefully we get some genty beats, some genty style riffs, some breakdowns even. Hopefully, I'm just gonna have to, fingers crossed. We're just gonna have to wait and see when that comes around fairly soon, I believe. So we're just gonna have to wait and see for that. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to hit the subscribe button, especially new here, because those heavy bangers on the channel. But you don't want to miss out on a single one. I guarantee you that. And I'll see you guys in the next one.